face the moment of truth, baby.
Back. It's another episode of the StereoBros podcast. It's your boy, the purveyor of all things pistachio, lavender pistachio, pumpkin spice, and everything in between that recycles, and Course 311. It's your boy, P&L. Who else we got in the building?
Very proud of you. Hi, everybody. Head chef suit. It's a pleasure and an honor.
It is. Hi, it's Jazzy.
And we have a special guest in the building. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. So it's Shan. I guess better known as Let's Not Get Wasted. I champion for 4 pillars of sustainability.
Okay, period.
And I'm about all things environmental. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. She is a friend of the pod. You know, she was very active during our quarantine series.
Yeah. Those things were uber lit.
I missed those. Yeah, man. Those was lit.
When people were pulling up with plates, I was like,
fully dressed and all that.
Shit, niggas are fully dressed.
Bellinis.
Yeah, man.
Bellinis were on the Zooms. We had Bellinis on the Zooms.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we made it through.
We sure did.
We can make that work.
It was fun.
I just want 3 more months back in the crib to just like do that. That was partially fun, man.
I literally said to somebody, I was like, I feel like if we had to pandemic again, I
We
know
could do
what
it.
to do.
I've been begging for quarantine
You could do a
to
do-over,
come back
Yeah.
since like the end of 2021. I was like, we're doing a lot outside. Y'all niggas don't feel it? Like,
Yeah. Speaking of comebacks, everyone's favorite WNBA forward center, Brittney Griner, has landed on U.S. soil.
Yes. Thankfully.
She was filmed at a buffet with a flat top. Her dreads are cut off because she said when she showered they were in danger of freezing.
wow.
So she's back. You know, Joe Byron exchanged a ruthless merchant dealer for a celebrity basketball player, but you know, I guess it's okay to leave a Marine in Russia to get back a celebrity. Anyway. So we can talk.
You don't even care. You're just trying to stoke the fire.
Do I care? I care about, as they said on Fox News. Not that I watched that.
So how you saw it?
Okay, ask
It was
him
on the
again.
timeline.
Ask him again.
It was on the timeline. But you know, even Elon said it, right? I thought we don't leave Marines behind, but they left one in Russia and brought home a basketball player. And then the prophet scholar Dr. Umar Johnson said on the radio that she checks off more boxes, right? She's a woman, she's a lesbian, she's black, and she's a celebrity. So in terms of the election cycle and the news cycle, she checked off more boxes than white Marine guy, right? So it's something to think about because I think that her case got more recent news coverage, but I also think that the guy they sent back to Russia is not like, he wasn't like a Russian basketball player, like he wasn't like a tennis player, like he's known to like sell mad guns.
Yeah.
And now sending him back to Russia during a war.
Right.
So for me, I just want to make sure that, you know, folks understand, like, was it worth it? Was that really even exchange? And I think it wasn't. But I also understand that, you know, people wanted Brittney home. I wasn't in her shoes. You know, obviously her family wanted her home. But what about the other guy that's still there? Granted, okay, he was a spy.
Yeah.
So
Lots of people that are still there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's just one person.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah.
It's lots of people who are still like, you know, prisons, and not just in Russia. I mean, you know, we're talking about Russia exclusively right now, but I mean, do you think that do you think her sentence was fair for the crime in the first place?
forgetting to take out a vape pen So,
because she got sentenced to like 9 years or something like that.
yeah,
Correct.
and there's a lot of discretion in Russia. So, like, mistake of fact. So, it's weird, right? Because here in the States, right, if you have like a licensed knife,
Yeah.
and you're licensed to carry it in Ohio, but you're not licensed to carry it in Kentucky, and you cross that bridge, you can't always say, "Oh, I forgot." If the laws in one state say one thing, and you violate the laws, it's within their discretion, to basically say how they're going to punish you. So in this case, drugs are illegal in Russia. So yes, she made an honest mistake, but they don't care about that because you still have possession of drugs in the country. So, that brings up the other part of the question. Well, why was she in Russia?
Right, and I feel like that's literally the biggest mistake. The fact that she had to go over there because she's not properly compensated here. There was actually a post that said the most lucrative NBA mascot makes $625,000 a year.
That's my
Mascot.
dog. Yeah.
Yes, the mascot.
He's wild good too.
Which
He flips
mascot
and
is
shit.
this?
I don't even remember.
I want to say it's either the Denver Nuggets, like the dude that be doing all the flips, or
The gorilla.
I gotta look it up. It's a dude that be flipping a lot. I can't remember which
Yeah,
one it is.
but
He
it's
makes-
crazy to me because
Crazy flips.
that's
Mad
had she
airtime.
been making that much money, she wouldn't have had to go to Russia to
Russia to
supplement
play.
her income.
Yeah.
So, this is a very hot topic that we talked about on IG because I saw an interview on LeBron's show, The Shop, and Lisa Leslie, Hall of Fame WNBA player. And, they asked her, what can we do to prop up the WNBA? And she said, well, for starters, give up a couple of nights in a casino and pay us more money.
Yeah.
Like as in the NBA guys come out of pocket
Yeah.
to give them more money. And then Draymond Green was just like, basically, fuck out of here.
Right.
Because we already
Very
do
on
a
brand
lot.
for him.
Right. It is though. Like his thought was, we do a lot for y'all already in terms of retweeting, donating,
Pressing the button.
supporting. No,
get the
listen.
retweet.
That wasn't his exact words, but he says nobody supports the WNBA more than NBA players.
About basketball, but
And-
that sounds crazy.
And then
Kyrie was paying salary, so
Yes.
yeah, right. So
respectfully.
there's also been
Yes.
times where certain NBA players was watching the game. So it was like the New York Liberty are playing, and dude's like, number 3 is mad good, and then somebody be like, her name is Lindsey Johnson Joseph. Get her name right, asshole. He's like, God damn, my fault, right? So sometimes there's that like vitriolic response to them trying to show support, but when people say, okay, don't pay her what LeBron makes, fine, but the one thing that people don't understand about the business of basketball is that matter of fact, all of the WNBA teams are co-owned by an NBA franchise, and they keep them afloat financially through direct subsidy. So the WNBA has not been profitable yet. They lose like $10 million a year.
Yeah, they always
Right?
operate at a deficit.
Right? So they operate at a deficit. So to say pay them more, it's like, how?
Yeah.
Right? And I think every time I've said that to somebody, they're like, oh shit, I didn't know that. So then it's usually I'm talking to, a female cousin or somebody, and I'm like, okay, how many WNBA games have you gone to? What?
But
Right?
the same cousin, do they go to NBA games?
Yeah, of course they do. Right?
Okay.
And then
She was like,
in a heartbeat. And then I'll say, okay, how much WNBA merch do you have?
how much ad
They
dollars
don't-
are going behind the promotion of these games and the merch?
So
If they're operating at a deficit, I would posit that they're not putting that many ad dollars behind.
And I would also like to add, even their merch with their name on it, they don't get profit from that, which is what another player was stating.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I don't want to get paid as much as someone else who's pulling in more, but why am I not getting paid for you selling something with my name,
name
on,
on
it?
it.
So even if people are
Yeah.
buying merch, they're not getting money from that.
So that's a very good point, and I think they need also a stronger union, right? So there's the jersey piece, but I also think if people walked around with WNBA jerseys on, it would bring more.
But they've got to be
to it.
excited. I mean, listen, if we're talking about like just the American sports market in general, like you need a certain, even FIFA, right? Football, true football, right? Is a global sport.
Right.
The American market doesn't get it.
Nah.
They don't get it. They need like a lot of propaganda to get them going, which is why I'm saying I didn't know the piece about them operating at a deficit, but just as like I feel like it's kind of simple math if you're looking at like a budget. If you already in the red, I can't throw extra dollars behind marketing you. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like if you're not putting the extra effort around getting them more exposure or building the hype campaign around them, then how would anybody get excited? How would anybody in this American market get excited to go to a game? It's almost like, instead of maybe trying to invest a little bit more so that they can risk seeing some more revenue come in, it's like, all right, we might be good, being at a negative here. Let's keep them stable here rather than investing so that we could see if they can grow. So that might be what's happening instead of actual like true investment in their games. Because I would go just off the strength of knowing that these women aren't being compensated, to be honest. Right. But I don't know anything about the schedule. I don't know anything about I never hear nothing
a commercial,
about it.
Nothing.
The same if they're playing at the same Barclays. Where's their picture? Right. It's not out front. It's just the Nets.
Right.
You know
I
what I'm saying?
don't know who's on the next, but
I mean, so.
But it's true. You see what I'm saying? If you're saying that they're co-owned by male franchises, then why aren't the female players also broadcasted at the Barclay?
And I also like to add too, in regards to salary and compensation, I don't think people should be looking towards NBA players, but the owners, right?
Yeah.
These are people who are multi-billionaires. Mm-hmm. So where are they? Are they opening up their wallets? Are they reaching in to say like, okay, you can give up $1 billion and still cover their salary?
Yeah.
So I think we should be looking at that point as well, because they're overcompensated.
Who's overcompensated?
The people who own the team. Like what?
So most franchises. So it's interesting because like when you go sport by sport, the most profitable American sport is football.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah,
that.
football. Yeah. Then basketball.
Yeah.
Then baseball.
Yeah.
But
and football don't got no guaranteed contracts still.
Baseball.
Wild.
Baseball got the craziest contracts. Like we just signed.
We being the Mets.
We being the Mets, of course. So Steve Cohen, our payroll is gonna be over $300 million for the year. Now, they charge probably like $14 for a glizzy at the stadium, and the beer is like $60. So he's making money right now. He probably paid $1 billion for the franchise, but in terms of business, it's like, okay, if your expenses are $300 million, and for the year between season ticket holders like me that are getting squeezed, right? He might bring in, and I ain't trying to watch his pockets, but he's probably making the profit, right? Yeah. So when you math that, you can say, okay, I'll pay this pitcher $40 million per year for 2 years to try to get that World Series ring, because that's going to bring even more notoriety, and people might buy jerseys for their entire family in 4 different colors. And that's another bag, right?
That's hilarious because it sounds like a you thing.
Maybe. But even with the WNBA, so it's like I watched the WNBA draft with my daughter. Yeah. I watched college because women's basketball is mad good. It's a very good product.
Yeah.
There's no dunks happening, but there's a lot of quality.
Yo.
Listen, there's
a lot of quality ball handling.
No, like they nice. Like it was a woman, because our family is South Carolina. Okay. So they just won the women's basketball championship in college.
Nice.
So a lot of the players I rooted for, I watched the draft, watched them get drafted, and I felt bad because it wasn't the same kind of draft.
Like the guys.
Nah, it wasn't.
Right.
But it was still watching them walk out happy and that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, great. My daughter's like, oh, I want to watch that team play the Liberty. So I'm like, I bet I'm gonna go find tickets.
Right.
And to sit like next to the referee at a Liberty game is like $100. And I'm like, yo, that shit makes no sense, because to sit next to a referee at the Knicks game is fucking $30,000.
I know it's facts, but it feels like shade.
It's sad.
I can't help it.
It's like they're not, like, that's too low.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, so there's that. It almost feels like, nah, y'all doing them dirty pricing it that low. Like, are you trying to make a profit?
Right.
And then at the same time, it's just like there's stars in the WNBA, like Lindsey Whalen and Shorty right now that's on ESPN. Can't remember her name right now. And then you got
keep hearing about Sue Bird.
Sue Bird just retired. She was a beast. Tarazi Brittney. You got stars. Why aren't they getting endorsements? Why aren't they getting like?
Meanwhile, the NBA
Yes.
is throwing. I just
Yes.
think about like an Amari Stoudemire, who we thought was going to do something for the Knicks, right? Through 100 M's.
He had a couple of solid years.
Okay, that's cute. That's cute. That's cute. That's real
a
cute.
couple of solid years.
That's real cute. No chips.
It wasn't him. We traded away
100
everybody for Carmelo.
100 M's?
He was killing, and
But
It was-
here's what I'm saying. We were willing to risk 100 M's on somebody. And I don't know, does the NBA do guarantee contracts?
yeah.
We guaranteed 100 M's on it. This thing was injured maybe like 3/4 of the year. And it was like, look at the level of risk that you're taking with this particular game. $100 to sit next to the referee on people who are established stars, as you've said. It's crazy. It says to me, operationally, on the back end, y'all just are okay with keeping it afloat here.
Right.
That's what it says.
But I will say the same way all of Black Israelites showed up for Kyrie. if there was a showing for like a Liberty game saying pay them more, motherfuckers would take notice and would probably pay them more. And I think the top WNBA player makes like maybe $300K.
She makes less than some business improvement district executive directors. She makes less
Don't
than
be
some
offended,
civil
nobody-
servants.
less than the mascot.
Now,
Yeah.
now
Like-
Less than the mascot.
the season the season is a short season. It's only like what, June to like September. So it's actually a quick bag.
Yeah, but I think that you want to draw people the same way like kids, once they can like look at TV, they're like, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be like LeBron. I don't think little girls are going like, I want to be Lisa Leslie, because we what do we see Leslie? We don't see Lisa Leslie do anything. There's no attention to it, so it probably is not even drawing the level of talent that it probably could if there was more like of monetary incentive.
For sure.
I would agree.
Even going back to visibility, like a lot of the times when they're playing, even if you don't know the sport, like their hair stays intact.
Yeah.
When they come, I'm like, why don't they have like an edge controller? Something like, I feel like within that sport. And I also feel like a lot of people, even outside of seeing their favorite athletes when they're playing, they see them in the commercials. They see them, advertising something else. So I feel like there is a market for the WNBA. Like women athletes in general. Yeah, like even if they were like had a commercial for Always or something like, oh, this is what I use when I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like that matters.
No one gives a fuck. And you know what? Instead of
When I'm
taking
playing, I use this version.
Maxi pad, yes.
instead of
That's actually fucking good marketing.
But
That's
the
good marketing.
reality
Yeah.
situation is those moves could have been made a long time ago, and they haven't. Instead of taking responsibility on the back end, folks are very ready to shift it to the viewership. They're always like, but do you watch a game? It's like, nigga, put it in front of me. Maybe I will watch a game. You didn't put it in front of me. Like you put the guy games in front of me. I can't ride up and down Flatbush Avenue and not see every player on the Nets. I don't know these guys' names either, but I might know their faces because every time I ride up and down Flatbush, I'm going to see them, you know?
Sure.
So it's almost like, I think the WNBA, I would like to get more into it because I do personally feel convicted when people ask if I watch the games, and I don't,
I don't watch the NBA either, though.
No, the truth is I don't watch too much sports these days. Unless it's FIFA. I'm
That's
World
one thing.
Cup.
That's one thing. If you're not into sports, period. So I understand the women's equity pay argument.
Yeah.
I think women should get paid equally. Full stop.
Thank you.
Provided that.
Full stop, comma.
Right.
Full stop, semicolon. Provided that in this case, though, I think it has to make business sense. So in the other sport that's kind of analogous. So women's tennis, Serena makes more than a lot of men.
Yeah.
But rightfully so, she's one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
But her and her sister had to fight for that shit.
Yes.
Like she and her sister fought for that.
Yes.
And when she was fighting for it, people was like, shut up and play. Like, shut up and swing.
Yeah.
She's like, nah, fuck that. So she had to fight for that.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like she's the reason why everybody else is getting paid decently in tennis. Because for a while, there was a big disparity. And I remember when she fought, like, nah, fuck that. And I think women's
Soccer is the same.
soccer.
They're better than the men's team.
So U.S. women's U.S. soccer generally, I don't know enough about to even.
Yeah.
Right.
But, so all you need to know is the women's team
I know
has chips.
in the last
Right.
FIFA's, like they got further than the men and that kind of stuff.
They have chips. The men's team.
But I also have tried to watch like regular like MLS soccer. It's not a good product. So they don't make like men's lacrosse, like men's pro lacrosse, men's pro like rugby, like certain sports that just don't have like the TV dollars, because there's the concessions, there's like the TV revenue. There's a bunch of different revenue streams you can pull from to pay somebody a lot of money. The NBA has a massive TV contract. So yeah, you can say I will give like a decent player $10 million a year because they're getting so much TV money. I think if the WNBA had a bigger TV contract and then was able to kind of find a way to say, okay, based off this TV contract, we're going to give them this and this, and then the top players outside of that can go get money in marketing, then I think it'll right size it. But I still don't see a way to pay as of right now. And I challenge the world to find a way. Tarazi, she should be making millions, but should she make LeBron money in her? Like, she should make the equivalent of what LeBron makes in WNBA dollars. What that is, I don't know. But she's better than dudes in basketball. She should be compensated accordingly. But how? Right? Like it's
gonna take an investment on the back end, and I feel like nobody's paying any of us enough to figure it out for them. I feel like no, truly.
Now, if I was an owner and every WNBA game was packed, I would be like, like I'd have to think about it.
I'd be looking at OWN. I'd be looking at Lifetime. I'd be looking at all of these women-centric networks. Like, yo, do you want exclusive rights to do this? You know what I'm saying? And then get the sponsorship dollars off of there. It's not like they don't have programming that's already pulling an audience. They're not trying, is what I'm telling you.
I don't disagree with you.
I'm not in I'm not in media buying or anything like that. But I just feel like as somebody, who can see points connect, there are just points you could have connected that I don't know that anybody has invested the time or the research to do. And if they have, then forgive me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, we're talking about a Brittney Griner. Anybody want to see her welcome home game? Maybe Oprah should invest in probably having some rights to stream.
And have Gayle King do the talking.
Perhaps if she's not going to treat them like she did Lisa Leslie after Kobe's
that
passing.
was nuts.
That was tacky.
She was mean to R. Kelly too.
I'm fighting for my life.
Kelly, we don't care.
I'm fighting for my life.
Those might not be fully equivalent, but I think we can also agree that
he got stuck.
There's also a big desire to pay women equally. There's also a desire to treat men equally, because in the last few months, Miss not Annie, but Ice Spice from the Bronx has launched a war on...
Call her by her name.
Ice Spice. ISIS, right? She's launched a war on men's sensibilities.
She's released an expose.
Yes.
Decent beats. But if I hear one more time somebody say on the gram, "You thought I was feeling you?" That's the problem with this generation. There's not enough feelings involved in relationships, right?
I would agree with that.
Right?
I'd agree with that.
So all of this calling guys munches, that's not what it is. And I'm here today to make a PSA and say it ends today.
So what's your issue? That the men are like identifying as such?
I don't know, not one man that's running around saying I'm a munch. No.
I know a few.
I know a few too.
Oh my! Oh, shit. So y'all know men that are walking around saying I'm a munch.
I'm
Absolutely.
saying they've been here, they've been outside. Is
Didn't
what I'm
you see
saying.
when she was at some award show and the guy's recording her, and then he's like, "I'm a munch too," and she was like, "Oh word, that's what's up."
So he did all that, and she
And all
gave
she
the
said
little,
was-
She was like,
little
"Oh
bro.
word, that's what's up," and she went to her seat. What was it? The BET Hip Hop Awards.
I'm pretty
I didn't
sure
see that.
in
That's
an
crazy,
old
though.
if we dig in the crates, we're gonna find an old episode of our own podcast where I've called men garbage disposal mouths.
You have said that. That was episode 25,
I'm
26.
telling you, they've been here. They've been, and there's no
sure.
shame to them. There's no shame. Just like some people have their. I'm not a kink shamer. You know what I'm saying?
King Shame.
I'm not a kink shamer. It's the
Right.
thing. So if you like what you like,
Right.
if you like what you like, then like what you like. You know what I'm saying? So I what we need to talk about is shaming men about the things that they like. We shouldn't shame men about the things that they like.
I agree.
Freedom. I'm here to advocate for the freedom for men to not be judged about the things that they like.
So back in the day, the Lil Kims of the world, you know, had songs like Tonight, and there were all of these songs around, you know, going down
Yeah.
and whatnot.
And whatnot.
1972 lingo.
Right?
But, you know, that was in the context of, okay, you know, Lil Kim was Lil Kim, whatever, fine. But deep down, she was a lover girl, right? She really wanted to be with
Biggie.
Biggie deep down. Ice Spice, on the other hand, is advocating all this Munch shit. And then, on the other hand, Drake's like, she attend trying to rap is good on mute.
That was about her?
I believe so.
Allegedly.
Allegedly it's about her. And she retweeted that and said, at least I'm a 10.
A win is a win.
Yeah, exactly.
So all I'm here to say is I might be wrong, right? But I don't know if it's conducive to relationship building to be calling men munches.
Maybe she's not trying to build a relationship.
Maybe she's just trying to talk to the niggas who are munches.
Which is cute now, but then in 5 years when she's
She might marry the munch. Who knows?
Right. In 5 years, she might actually start talking about things that are relevant to her in 5 years. Just like how a lot of... I don't even know.
I feel like she's a...
Yeah, she should be talking about that now.
She's a young thing. Like... And not for nothing, I've said this to like some of my like younger cousins and stuff. Like, you don't realize, because of the world we live in, you don't realize how much power as a young woman. Like, you don't realize how much power you have to define the world for yourself, because you're kind of navigating and people are telling you what they're going to do with you. And you don't realize how much authority you have when you're young. First of all, people are scared of the youth, but to be a young Black woman is a lot of power. And so I like to remind my younger cousins, like, yo, you got a lot of authority and you need to know that. Don't abuse it, but you should know that you have it. So then when somebody tells you, oh, this is what we're going to do, you have the power to say, nah,
no,
that's not how that works. It's going to go this way. And so I feel like this is just this girl saying, like, I'm good looking, this is my body, and they're dudes who do this because they like to do it. It's not like I'm drugging these men to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we had another rapper who was cool with dropping drinks and dropping things in people's champagne, and she ain't even know it. People cleared that, made it a whole.
He's a character. Nobody swear by that.
Nobody swears by it, but I'm just talking about how
I think he really did that. He did that.
He said that.
No,
Like,
no. I didn't say he didn't say it. Put Molly in her champagne.
She didn't know it, and that made it
home and enjoyed
all the
that.
way to the mainstream radio before somebody was like, "This is date rape."
Yeah.
Yeah, he was wailing with that. And I mean, real dudes don't condone no type of box thievery. Like, listen, I say this for episodes now. We don't condone package theft. We don't steal box.
Package theft.
We don't
I
steal
agree.
box. We don't do that.
Box thievery.
No
but,
box
but what I'm
thievery.
saying is that, like, okay, this still made it to the mainstream, though, right? Somebody who perceives that particular artist as a real whatever is gonna think that that's real whatever behavior.
I just don't want the young guys out there who are wholesome thinking they got to do that in order to get.
I don't want them to think that either,
I
because
don't think
That's my
that they
concern.
think that, because
You know.
even if you think about it, it goes back to consumerism, because she had a song right before the Munch song where it was about her really liking a guy and he did her dirty.
we both from the
Both from the
Bronx.
Bronx, so know that you dirty.
You know what you dirty.
But-
Why would you do me like that? Or
But
something
in that
like
same
that.
song, she said, "I'm a smooch. I cannot choose." So she said that, and a smooch is like a treesh, which the young boys say.
I don't
know.
know.
I don't even
I
know
don't
that
know
word.
the.
is
I don't know the
a woman-
verbiage.
It's a woman of the night. It's a woman that's very promiscuous.
So she referred to herself as a promiscuous
Yes,
woman?
and she said that he got mad because she slept with his best friend in that same song. So that's why he cut her loose. So again, I know a lot of wholesome guys that recycle and just, go about their day, and they're like, "Big Rob, man, it's hard to get a good woman out here." And then, it's dudes that might, be out at the club or you know, wherever trying to find like a nice woman, and that Munch shit come on, and he's like, damn. So, you know, I gotta sign up for that just to hope to get past like the entry gate.
How many songs are talking about women's throats?
Right.
That was one song.
Come on, it's
And
not
women was
one
on it.
song.
Throat Baby was one song.
It's not one song. We're always talking about.
Y'all City Girls was on there going crazy.
Listen, all I'm saying is this: talking about women, you know, performing any kind of sexual activity is not new business. So finally we have this one moment where this girl is given a title to some dudes who actually enjoy this activity.
That's an anthem for them. They should be embracing it.
Empowerment. Like I don't
Munch up, okay.
You know, put your arms down.
Like if that's what you do, claim it.
Shan said,
Claim it, man. Claim it. Own it. Claim it.
Maybe she'll get a Crunch and Munch sponsorship.
Maybe Meg got hottie sauce.
Yes, from Popeyes.
She got
that
hottie
might
sauce.
be coming
Maybe
next.
she will get Crunch and Munch. That would be fantastic.
I think so too.
Of course, Miss the Queen of Tributes would be all four men being objectified and.
Listen, I'm for people being empowered. Like I said, I don't kink shame. So whatever it is that you into it. I don't yuck yums. That's what we call it. I don't yuck yums.
You know what? On this note, fellas, protect your jaws and your wallets, please. Protect your jaws and your wallets.
There's no threat outside.
No forehead taps. None of that. Don't let nobody bump on your forehead. See, this is why in Jamaica they were so against Aishana, because, you know, there was like, you know, she's opening up the floodgates. And that was episode 25, 26. Cars and garages. And now look where we are.
I'm so happy to be here. We love it here.
Yeah.
Well, to get us out of this, I'm going to go to Kwanzaa.
Okay.
And fellas, instead of being tributized or labeled a Munch, get your Kwanzaa. It's funny, today at my kids' school, they gave me a kit with the name of the candle holder on there. And right now I cannot remember the name of the Kwanzaa candle holder at this very moment. But I think this year there's no Kwanzaa crawl.
Yeah.
So make sure that you commit to the principles of Kwanzaa, being that this is the year 2022, lost Betty White. You know what I mean?
We lost
Betty White been dead.
Yeah, earlier this year.
Betty White.
This year she died.
Betty White. She died this year?
Top of the year.
Oh.
She did not.
Was it? I didn't.
I'm
Well,
fact
the year,
check
I don't
this
know.
right
The year
now.
been
Fact
so
check me,
long.
but I feel like Betty White died in January.
Betty White didn't. Hold on, wait a second. Betty White.
She died last year.
Oh shit. She died December 31st, 2021.
Oh.
She died in her
Human
sleep.
Encyclopedia.
She deserved to die in her sleep peacefully.
I didn't want Betty White to ever die.
Me
Like,
neither. Nobody
she was the
did.
last Golden Girl.
Nobody wanted Betty White to. You know what? I remember it now. Nobody wanted, because it was after Chadwick, wasn't it?
Right. And then
Yeah.
Which I feel like it was a lot at that time. So
she was like 99.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Like a month or two.
Because even People
Yeah.
Magazine had an article ready for her, like, "Oh, I'm
Yes.
happy birthday, happy 100th birthday." And it's like
Yeah,
she
and
died before it
died
even
right
was
before
released.
it. Betty White was cool.
The other thing too, back to this Munch thing real quick, if I must.
Oh my goodness.
Other thing I'm concerned about is that you got woman is king, right?
Okay.
And I just don't want men to feel coerced.
Why? Listen,
If you feel coerced after a song, like you have bigger
No,
fish to
issues.
fry.
It's more so like, what if you go on a date, a $300 date, $400 date,
okay.
and then afterwards she's like hitting you on your head like this.
No woman is gonna do that to you.
Right.
Me personally, no. But
And let's talk. I mean, this is not on topic, but let's talk about the guys who are worried about the women using them for $300 dates,
Okay.
but they don't have the funds for
You
the
don't even have
$300
the
dates.
$300.
She's a gold digger, but you have no gold to dig.
Cause it's like I don't know. I just feel like, to me, in terms of the whole munching we're talking about, I think it's important for me to say, Black people need to, Black and brown folks, I think part of our liberation is going to be through pleasure. It's going to be through pleasure activism. It is. We need to be comfortable with liking what you like without worrying about people, what they think about you. There are many men who have said to me, and some of them are platonic friends, some of them are people I've had conversations with just in passing, where they naturally had the development to want to learn how to please their girlfriend at the time.
Of course, yeah.
So then, you know what I mean? So
different.
it was natural for them to like, oh, I want to get good at this. Why then should we?
So I'll practice on a random.
No, but it's not
Random
People
random.
do it all
People
the time.
do it. You know what I'm saying? Like
before
there
the
are
Munch
women
song.
in high school. I went to Barton.
So there was a lot of that going on, huh?
No, I'm not saying there's a lot of that going on. I'm just saying there were women who were, just like in any school, there were girls who were a little bit way more advanced.
Known eaters.
No.
Okay, so anyway, like what I want to express here is that there were women, there were younger girls, because in high school you're a young girl, or young women I should say, whatever, who were very clear on the fact that they liked what they were doing, and we called them hoes from jump.
Right.
They knew I like sex. I like when I do this to a man. I like the response I get, and we labeled them. And it wasn't fair to those girls back then, right?
And y'all didn't let me go to Barton.
It wasn't fair to those girls back then. And I always thought it was weird because I'm like, then guys complain about women being frigid, but you just called this girl a hoe. So it's like you're going to ruin her social capital, but at the same time, you don't want her to be frigid. Which one do you want?
Right.
So now it's like, okay, here go these men. They're developing. They should have the right to be able to say, I like doing this. It's not women who are calling them munch and thinking that they're less than. It's other men doing that. That's not nobody.
I agree.
Because no man is gonna say, yo, bro, I spent the last 2 weeks rotating my jaw between 7 purposes. They're not gonna say that.
But what if the munch is just munching on one person?
On one person, but they like to do it.
So he just pulling them back to work. Hey, how's it going? and
Listen,
then,
there are some people
absolutely.
that's what they are into. It's just like I've heard it likened to just people who have grown up with an oral fixation. There are people who grow up with oral fixations. And this is
I know why she laughing.
But seriously, and it
You're
kind
a
of
mean person. You're mean.
sometimes it blossoms into this. You know what I mean? The roots are deeper than we think they are. It's not because of ice.
So y'all marrying munches?
Would I marry my munch? Sure, why not?
Because
would I not?
Yeah, I feel like not that it's a requirement, but is that not a part of the
Yes.
package?
No,
It's a requirement.
It's a part of the package.
It's a requirement.
Chewing bubblegum, bro. You got chew bubblegum.
Not for nothing, but even people are saying now that women who perform fellatio, they're eaters too.
Oh, they've been. Chief Keef started that in 2010.
Right. So women are also munches technically.
Yeah.
They're classified as eaters.
I mean,
Would a man want to marry a woman who
doesn't?
not gonna do that for him?
I find that
some men.
challenging.
So
from,
it depends. So there's like a sliding scale of men and women, right? And I feel like
everybody was like, all right.
oh shit. What is he gonna say? Right? But here's the thing.
I think even the ones waiting until marriage are hoping, like, I hope they do that.
Yeah.
Like, I hope it's on the table.
So I think when you're younger, when you like 22, 23, you can say, I'm going to wait till marriage, right?
Okay.
If you're not married in your 30s, the likelihood that you're going to marry somebody that's never had any kind of sexual contact in your same age demographic is like rare.
How would you want to?
That too, right? That too.
That's a lot of work.
Right? But I feel like if you're a dude who can get action from women and you're talking to 5 women and 3 are just like, whatever in terms of they're very sexually confident, they know what they want to do, how they want to do it. One is just like, you got to wait 90 days and the other's like, I've never done that, I'm waiting until marriage. I've never done that waiting until marriage, she better have some other immaculate shit going on, or she
Exactly.
right? Or she's gonna get, downgraded. And then conversely, if y'all got munches, you got 3 munches, and then you got one dude that's like, you gotta wait 90 days for some head, and the other dude that's like, I'm waiting till marriage. You gonna be in the group chat flaming, yo, anti-munch, because y'all gonna label him.
Yeah.
Anti-munch is talking about he want to go out to brunch. Fuck, I'm going to brunch with anti-munch for. Or y'all go to brunch with anti-Munch, get drunk, and then go see a Munch. He's never gonna have a shot.
Well,
Right? So that's how that goes. So when people put these arbitrary
I was like,
a 90-day
my dress back right quick.
a 90-day woman for a guy that has fucking options is gonna be like next. And
Are they? Or are they gonna just
nah, if they like you enough, that right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because if you're single, you can do that.
You can do that.
But I
So
mean,
while you're
she'll
waiting
be
for
downgraded.
her-
But then, you know, there's also
She's
women
safe the whole time. She didn't have
right.
sex with you.
who after the first date say, you know what, let's go, and built up a long-term relationship with somebody too. So I think there is definitely there's someone said rigid, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can't be a word in terms of building a relationship with somebody. Like, you gotta go with the flow in terms of what makes sense for you. But then there's also, you know, as you get older, you also gotta peel back less criteria, right? Because you don't want to be what Chili wants. You know, 40-something talking about I got a list.
You can peel back. It's an option.
Well,
Some, you know what I'm saying?
Not all,
What
but-
Chili wants only exists because maybe she didn't peel back. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that it's always a choice to do that right now.
And I
and
also
Nick
think
Cannon
it's,
it's fucking Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon.
it's interesting because you're speaking from the standpoint of building a relationship. I don't think many people are interested in that. Like, you know, especially going back to like I Spice, people who are 22, 23 years old, like, it's not like, you know, a few decades ago where by that time it's like, all right, if you're not married, like you're you know, garbage.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, you're not married at 35, there's still hope. 40,
Yeah.
there's hope. Like technology and everything, if it's, you know, if you want to have children, there's so many options that you can do to wait. So people don't feel like, oh my gosh, time is ticking, I need to be in a relationship. It's like, let me have fun now.
Yeah.
Because once I do settle down, it's just gonna be this one person forever.
People having children at like 48, 50, damn near.
Yeah, so
So
I
it's
don't think
getting
people
crazy.
are like looking at it through the lens or the scope of
Yeah, we'll keep the mic
relationship.
Keep the mic from you.
Oh, what you was about to say? You had something to say?
I had nothing to say, but I just got looks like this nigga about to say some shit.
I could feel it in your subconscious.
No,
like
no,
something
no,
was about to come to the front.
No. All I want is equality in terms of dating. I just, because there's a lot of guys out there that, you know, will see a pretty face and think he got to do that and get used. And that's what I ain't worried about.
That's not using. You do have to do that. You're not being used, I promise.
You gotta chew the bubble gum if you like to chew the bubble gum.
Y'all
Only
listening
if
to
you
that
wanna
Billy
chew
B.
bubble gum.
It's that Billy B.
Listen,
Got-
shout out
got
to
corrupted.
the bachata song. That's my shit.
All right. I mean, so safe to say, fellas, protect your jaws.
Women too.
Okay, period.
Listen, fellas, if a woman hands you some Bazooka Joe on the first date, be careful.
Watch out.
You know what I mean? Be careful.
Silly.
The other thing I want to talk to y'all about is Balenciaga.
Okay.
And how we said years ago when Gucci was fake canceled with Moncler that this is like a cycle. So now, for those that don't know, Balenciaga had an ad that looked like it was pedophilic and had kids in whips and chains with like teddy bears, whips and chains, and they apologized, and Balenciaga sued the ad agency as if it's the ad agency's fault.
Right. That was the most ridiculous spin I've ever seen.
Yeah. So when we said years ago that this would happen again, we wanted to be wrong. We were not.
Right.
It's happening again. And I have not seen a celebrity saying, in the words of Cliff Harris, we are hereby temporarily withholding our funds from Balenciaga. People still wearing their Monclers. They still wearing those fitted Balenciaga sneakers that go up to your ankle. Ain't shit changed, right? And the moral of the story from my perspective is the Jerry Joneses of the world who get caught in a picture when he was 14 trying to not integrate at school, and the Balenciagas that do halfway like pedophilic stuff. Nothing happens to them because they control the culture, right? Like Jerry Jones controls one of the most profitable, if not the most profitable football franchises. Football is one of the most profitable sports. Balenciaga is one of the most profitable brands right now, and they're part of a larger umbrella. So as a people, I want us to just be more conscious of what we support, before we, spend so much time endorsing things outside our culture, look inward and support that, because chances are the local brand is not going to be doing shit like this, right? Like the local brand is not going to be on the news for selling fake jewelry to rappers in Philly, and or for having a photo shoot with kids in BDSM gear.
Right.
Weird. Very weird. I mean, listen, I feel like at this stage of the game, someone described the current culture to me as a land of the walking dead. In a sense that everyone is groupthink is like the parasite that has taken everybody over. If you yourself, I feel like if you are trying to protest something that you feel is wrong, then you are going to have to just rely on yourself to protest that. Waiting for the day where the culture collectively comes together to do it, I think is a waste. And it's also a crutch that people are doing, because it's easy to scream into a vacuum on social media and be like, we should come together or we should do this. No one's going to fucking do it. And everybody who has seen the trend the last, I don't know, year, 2 years because this is almost a new brand of marketing, shock marketing. And people love to do this shit because they get really high impressions really quickly
For free.
Right.
for free.
10, by the way.
And so it's kind of like, like if you really want true change, you really want people to boycott some things, it's not gonna happen if you're waiting for the collective. At this point, brains are mush. People who are just going to go with the group think are going to keep doing that. So you yourself have to put a stop to it if you don't want to see it. People like some of our favorite celebrities, they paid. You haven't realized that these folks are on somebody's bankroll by now? Then you part of the problem too. You got the parasite and don't even realize that you have it. So I don't wait for anybody to tell me that this is wrong and I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And that's what I think we kind of need to do. It's like, yo, give up the group think. What do you want to do? You don't support pedophilia. You don't support kids in BDSM costumes. You don't fucking buy the brand.
Right.
And that's it. And when people ask you, what are your thoughts or why don't you own? You tell them this is the reason. And you let them decide for themselves. And then you, to double down on your brand, figure out if you want that person to be part of your network or not.
I definitely agree. Going a step further, besides what they were doing in the advertisements, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the CEO also owns a different, like, an art website, and there were actual toys of disfigured children where, like, the nose was a penis,
Weird.
the mouth was like an open hole, and
Weird.
So it was like they took it even
taken.
Yeah, like they took it a step further. So it's like, okay, fine, you apologized about that, but what is this about?
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, well, that's a separate artist, we can't vet. I'm like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
You have the resources, compliance, quality assurance, whoever, run an audit on these people, and you have to give the okay.
Yeah.
There's no way they just uploaded it and no one verified.
Because people don't do art shows without curation, whether
Right.
it's digital or in person. Someone curates that
Right.
shit. So if people are submitting things, then they're submitting things under a theme.
Right.
So if they're kids with buttholes for mouth, like, I think
Yes.
it's just fucking nuts.
Yeah, when I saw the visual, I'm like,
It's
oh,
nuts.
wow.
It's nuts. And so
wow.
folks are going to be
Wow.
excited because they've dumbed down our attention span. People are going to be hype over this for like a few seconds and they're going to move on.
But
For sure.
where was this scene? Like, was it on the site? Like they were selling something?
So on the Balenciaga side, if I'm not mistaken, it was either children's clothes or like the teddy bear that they were holding that had the BDSM. The art was not affiliated with Balenciaga, but the CEO does own like a different art creation. So they were like, "There's no way this is a coincidence. Like you're
Right.
clearly
This is what
into
you guys
this."
are into.
Yes.
It's disturbing. All this is
Right.
like really disturbing.
I don't wear Balenciaga, so I can't boycott them. But I do think that celebrities and their, I don't know, ties, it seems as though they're not ready to cut ties. Because my thing is like,
They never are.
they like, okay, you want to come out and talk about like shit we don't care about your opinion on, but every day you post it up in your Balenciagas. So why not at least use this time to say, hey, I'm not gonna wear that anymore because but again,
Celebrities are employees. In fact, it's the worst job to have. It's the worst kind of employee to be. You can't be yourself. Someone owns your voice. They own what you can say. You ever seen Beyonce say anything?
Smart.
Bitch never has no opinions on fucking nothing. Whoever owns her persona or whatever she can say, and I know that she's bought her liberation to a degree, but she still can't speak on just anything whenever she wants. Celebrity is not.
She seems like she pays behind the scenes.
No. That's what I'm saying. She's bought her liberation to a degree.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, like to what degree?
Right.
You know, there are people attached to her product, and she can't. She's the face of Tiffany, is it, or whatever? You think she could just come out and be like, blood diamonds are a terrible thing?
Even with NSARS, people were like demanding her to say something because she did the album predominantly with the
Tiwa
African.
Savage.
Yes, and then she said something eventually, but people were to your point, like you don't know if she was sending money over there, resources.
And here's what I'm saying: even when that came up, folks was like, "Oh, you see, Beyonce she don't always be saying stuff, but she be doing stuff." I was like, here's the problem with this. That's cute that you was sending money and making meals or whatever you was doing, but that's not what they asked you for. Right. They asked you for your platform. Nobody fucking asked you to be a humanitarian and send care packages. Nobody asked you to do that. They asked you to go on your Instagram, that's for free, and say "and SARS," and you couldn't do it. And now you giving us this. We know, like, okay, cool, thank you for the meals, but no one's gonna follow up on it. And you know what? Actually, a few months ago, I went back to track it to see if there are any photos, images of what happened from that. You can't see it. You act like it's not hard to scrub the internet for some things that you get what I'm saying? So
I asked, I'm like, yo, did SARS end? Like, I don't even, what happened with that?
And you're not going to, because we're already on to the next thing.
Right.
We've all been indoctrinated to have shorter attention spans. We just do. So it's like
2-minute songs called Munch.
You know what I'm saying? But like ultimately, like celebrity just is not. It looks good. It's like they call it's enchantment. You know what I'm saying? It works for profit margins, but it really doesn't work for the actual celebrity. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be a celebrity on your own accord. Own your things, so that way you can say what you want, you know, and do what you want.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I do have to dip out because I have to save the planet.
No planet.
Yeah, there is no planet B. We only have one. So if anyone is interested in finding out how I do so, I did mention that I champion for 4 pillars of sustainability, mainly the environment. If you're interested, again, I also go by Let's Not Get Wasted, so you can search the hashtag. You can also find me on my socials, Pequeñita, but it's PEQUEN, the number 1, TA.
Wait, how do you say that?
Pequeñita.
Shit.
Okay,
It means really small.
My baby is Costa Rican,
No, 'cause
okay,
I've been-
baby?
I've been saying
Pequeñita.
Pequenita one, like
Yeah, and the one is in the middle. That happens a lot.
I've been butchering that. So.
Shout out to Shan. One time I was in Costa Rica, I couldn't speak any of the Spanish. I would call her and she would translate for me in real time to all of the vendors.
No problem.
She would put him on the phone. I'd be like, all right.
Oh yeah, speaking of sustainability, so I am Costa Rican, and not to toot my own horn, but we were named the most sustainable country. So I was very proud of that.
There you go.
Pura
So, yeah.
vida.
Yes, pura vida.
Pura
So those of y'all that
vida.
are visiting, please keep it beautiful.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, thanks for pulling up. You're always welcome to pull back up. You know, in the meantime, we'll let you go save the planet. Guys, be careful out there.
If you have any worries, dial 311.
Period.
Well, new music. And shout out to Steph for introducing us to the sustainable one. You know, good guest. You know, that was solid, riveting. New music. Shout out to my guy, Label New York. Label NYC. His new song, Honey Munch, is my song. And it's his retort to Ice Spice.
Oh, I didn't know one was necessary, but
And
I can't wait to hear it.
Like you, he's a Zoe.
So he's fronting. Anyway.
Oh gosh. He's gonna see this. Oh man. Bro, listen. I'll call you. I'll fix it. Don't worry, bro. I got you. I got you.
I'm sure the song is a smash.
It is.
So my pick is also from another Zoe. It's Jessie Woo's cover of Mona Lisa.
Is she a woo?
She is. Well, she's not a woo. Oh, you mean like the gang stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
no, I can't confirm that.
Because I don't think she's from Brownsville.
No,
Okay.
I feel like she's from Miami.
Yeah, okay. Got it, okay.
And so she covered Mona Lisa, and it's called Comme ça, comme ça is Creole for like this. And
What's she saying? What's the flavor?
so keeping it in the Munch theme,
That's not what I thought the song was saying when you played it earlier. I thought she was saying, let's go get some black rice.
the hook is Vin Jerem comme ça. So Samuel, you Haitian, so you know actual what the words mean. But Jerem is like move me, like this.
So let's go dance.
Sure. But the words preceding it definitely don't say dance.
So what does it mean? Because I need to be able to inform.
She's essentially, the song is essentially saying, you talk a lot about how great you can do things. Here's the opportunity. Come move me like this. And so she's
a jawbreaker, guys. Watch out for these jawbreakers. These chicks is jawbreakers out here, man. I'm telling you. Watch out for these jawbreakers.
Yo, but the song
And I'm
is
getting
fire,
death stares
though.
too. Yo, did I see that death stare by this one?
Oh, Lord.
This nigga better stop talking.
But that's my pick. It's a great pick.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
My pick this week is from Coco Jones
Hey.
called "I See You."
Hey,
It's very
Song is
vibey.
fire.
Jazzy favors.
A little.
Yes, girl.
She does. And for those that
she's
a
beautiful,
gorgeous
and the funny
woman.
thing is, like, I saved because you ever save like makeup inspo, and I saved a picture of hers because I was like, oh, like I feel like we have similar skin tone.
Yeah, no, you do favor her.
What?
She favors you.
That's a here you go.
Here I go. Oh,
yeah, I was waiting for her to be done with all this makeup but she's so Coco Jones is the woman who plays Hillary on the Fresh Prince
Yes.
reboot.
Yes.
And she's wild talented. It's crazy that Young M.A. was probably one of the first recent artists who turned down a role on a prominent show. She turned down Empire because she didn't want to be known as that character. She wanted to be known for her music.
Yeah.
And then you got Jacob Lattimore, Rotimi, the dude who plays Zoe's boyfriend on Grownish.
Who is that? I don't watch Grownish.
Damn it.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
Trevor Jones.
Yes. And even Luke James, like.
Oh.
So there's people who.
And he can sing.
Right, but I think so for Jacob Lattimore, I think he got known as Everett on the Shy first.
Yeah.
But he could really sing too.
Yeah, I have some of his music on iTunes too.
As can Trevor. Like I fuck with their music, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like for those that don't really consume music like that and don't like look for music, like they've gotten a buzz and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Most people are like, oh, that's just Everett from the Shy, or that's just old boy from so and so. So when you first showed me, I was like, oh, no, y'all said she's from Fresh Prince. I'm like, yo, she's bigger than that role because she can really sing.
Her voice is very beautiful
Her
too.
voice
It's like
is
deep and velvety. Well, not Toni Braxton deep, but I appreciate an alto, a good alto.
So alto is a deep woman voice?
No, it's just not. I feel like alto is like what we're speaking right now. Singing at this level, I feel is cool. Tenor is like a Braxton, right? But
Which one? Tamar or Tony?
Tony. Tony is a tenor.
Never say love. Oh yeah, I can see that. And then
I feel like Tamar might be an alto.
higher pitch.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So what's Mariah Carey?
She's all of them.
Okay.
Sis got octaves.
And she has that one note at the end of the songs on she could hit.
Yeah. I feel like Ashanti might be is she a soprano? Do you think she's a soprano? I'm thinking about the song Happy.
It wasn't a lot of singing, it was more like crooning.
Okay, you know what? Right? Like, I don't know.
I'm an
what to say.
Ashanti fan. Your lips, those anyway.
Yeah.
Hood esoterics, please enlighten us with your esotericisms.
So first I will say that I'm really excited that people like this section. Yes.
It's my favorite.
We don't have a theme song or anything, but what I'll do is just explain what esoterics is before I start. So esoterics is just a term that kind of describes hidden knowledge, right? So it's information that at some point in history was reserved for certain groups of people. And so now, because of the age of information, we have a lot more of this information kind of flooding the streets, and people want to make sense of them. And so I myself have been groomed in esoterics. My parents were very diligent about opening me up to other things from very young. And so it's just kind of a part of my being. It's not necessarily a new thing for me. And so I'm happy to be a bridge for folks who want to learn a little bit more. But I would advise, don't practice anything you are not adequately resourced in or knowledgeable about, because these things are real. They may sound like, you know, kind of like fantasy or fanciful, maybe that's a better word, to people who are just being acquainted to it, but you shouldn't try them just happenstance. I would encourage, let this be the introduction to your own research. Okay. So today, it's kind of basic. Well, let me be the judge of that. I'm saying basic because it's basic to me, but like, I just wanted to define masculinity and femininity, because I feel like we get a lot of conversations these days about women being in there, being hyper masculine, men being hyper feminine, and da 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 da. And so, earlier today I was thinking through like how I was gonna do this, and one of the things I wanted to definitely bring up was just the main characteristic of masculinity and femininity, and then reframe the conversation from that lens, right? So, just one important note is that masculinity and femininity, divine masculinity, divine femininity is one, not gendered, right? These are just energies. They're energy signatures. They're not gendered. Two, everyone possesses both. Everyone possesses both. So every man, even on the corner serving, got femininity in him. Okay? So the way that I like to frame it, and every woman who is running a business also got femininity in her, or running a household has masculinity in her. One of the ways that I like to frame it, and I find that it made it easier for me to absorb and work with, and also communicate to others, is the main characteristic of both of those energies. So femininity, when we're talking about femininity, we're talking about the energy of magnetism. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the ability to draw things in, right? And the reason why we say that is because like the world, before it was in the universe, the world, anything in the cosmos, before it was alive with activity, it was in its feminine, which means it was in its receptive state. It was still, things were drawn into it. Like black holes are like, would be an example of femininity, because there's nothing there. It's just dark, but it pulls everything into it, right? And the idea of like a big bang, and forgive me if my science ain't right. Any scientists, please just join the conversation. But the idea that it would pull the right things into it to produce a bang. Right. So that's what we think, essentially, if we oversimplify, is like kind of what happened with the beginning of things. It's like things were drawn into an orbit and boom, life. Right. And so often people will hear me talk about the mother god, and I will always say the mother god is first, because, that's the state of things at first. When you're meditating, you are in your feminine, because you're allowing yourself to receive. Right? And things come to you, visions, ideas, inspirations, those things come to you because you're in your feminine. Masculine, their main characteristic is electricity, right? So when you're in your masculine, you're electric. You take things from one point to another. You can inspire life, inspire an idea, inspire action. So like masculine energy is the ability to kind of like produce a thing. We know higher parts of our consciousness because of masculinity, right? We are only able to access higher life, higher thinking because of masculinity, right? Like your dad, like your mom gives you the fundamentals, your dad grows you up. It's kind of like what we think, right? So like if you take it back to culturally, if we take it back to like super old matriarchal systems, right? Where like maybe think tribes were nomadic, there is a village dad. Like, cause nobody really cared who the father was, but like the mother is teaching the kid language. She's giving the baby fundamentals, and then when the baby is of age, they give him to the dad. And the dad grows him up in society. Now he gives him the lay of the land, tells him where his place is, tells him how he grows things, what position he's supposed to take. And that essentially is how I look at masculine and feminine energy, right? Like feminine is first, it's foundational. So like there is no, and it's also a basic element of all things because everything was in its feminine before masculine, right? So when we talk feminine energy and masculine energy, we're literally just talking about the ability to attract and the ability to create. And they're equal, all right? So in the modern conversation of like dating and things of that nature, I think if we use magnetism and electricity as the characteristics rather than masculinity and femininity, we would have more productive conversations. Because then we could say, arguably, right, everyone has a unique combination or a unique kind of like distilling of
to connect or to
right. You know what I'm saying? Whereas there are some men who are absolutely magnetic, and they're magnetic because of how they care. They're magnetic because of how they teach. They're magnetic because of how they show respect or they show love. Some people, if they aren't knowledgeable and they're hung up on masculine and feminine, they're going to call him a simp. Right? But if I switch it and I say that this man is simply magnetic, he might have a certain percentage of femininity that is a little bit more than the electricity. And depending on the circumstance or whatever he's involved in, he's able to pull more than someone else, right? Then we have other women. We have women now who might be more electric than they are magnetic. They can put things in the world. You know what I'm saying? They can create things. Now, we do have a section of study called human design. I'm not very knowledgeable on human design because it's a newer area of study and people take years to like learn it for real. I have not invested a year in learning in it, but I am aware of human design. And there are different categories. There's a generator, a manifesting generator, there are projectors, there are reflectors, and these are essentially roles in society that people largely fall in. Now, if you're a generator, this means that you're able to produce. If you're a manifesting generator, that means you're able to conceive and produce. If you're a projector, that means you are naturally adept at teaching. If you're a reflector, you're usually an outcast, but you are the best at showing society what they actually look like because you live on the fringe of society. You get what I'm saying? So like if we're spinning a block, that was just an example, but if we're using that kind of as a template to describe further electricity and magnetism, then you would see that some people have a certain percentage of electricity to be a certain way in the world. Some people possess a certain amount of magnetism to be a certain way in the world. And there are already roles in other areas of study that show that you can be both equally. You know, and so I think that, you know, if we could just hold on to that idea that, you know, femininity is really just talking about the ability to attract. You know, like that's why when guys are like, we want women to be more feminine, you want to see a woman who can pull you. This is just a Stephanie tidbit. Don't be mad at being pulled in. Because that just be the weird part for me. It's like you want a feminine woman and then you get mad that you got pulled into the vortex. We don't get it. But you know, like there is the ability to attract, you know what I'm saying, is being in your feminine. That is being receptive. You are able to receive. If you are electric and you are producing, women can't give birth without electricity. Do you get what I'm saying? So naturally, she's got to have some of that. You know, they can't make a home without electricity. They can't teach your kids without electricity. And if we talk at a micro scale, and forgive me if I'm going too fast, let me know if I'm losing anybody here. Y'all let me know in the comments, but like, you know, you guys, but you know, if we're talking about a woman's ability to, because there's always talk about being hyper masculine, right? The reason why this is confusing to any progress we're going to make or a hindrance to any progress we're going to make is because the system we live in is very masculine. So electricity being a masculine charge, if this woman who by this system, by design, is already set back, if she needs to be electric here, she has to be extra electric. Does that make sense? Like, it's almost like she can't compete if she's not extra electric for whatever her circumstances are. Some women who are more balanced in their composition will use some of their magnetism in order to be electric. So So that's when you get the women who are wearing the power suits. They know exactly how much cleavage. You know what I'm saying? Because she's still aware, and she still is composed of a certain amount of magnetism. But because the system she's operating in is electric, is masculine by definition, by charge, she has to be more electrically charged, if that makes sense. So this is just my hood esoteric offering to you guys today, to reframe how we're looking at masculinity and femininity, and more so look at it from the characteristic of being magnetic and being electric, because that's how the universe works. We are electromagnetic beings. You know, this is why frequency music works. You know, we have atoms and protons and this is science, and it's backed by it. So it's like we should really do ourselves the favor and not just kind of pigeonhole ourselves to these societal constructs of what a feminine person is or what a masculine person is. We all are both at varying degrees, and it is our job in this waking world to vibrate at a level where you meet your match. That's why your frequency matters. You know what I'm saying? Your vibration matters. You will meet the pair for you that has the right
same frequency. Yeah.
Not even the same. A complementary one. Did I say that right? Okay, yeah. A complementary one. Because you might just need a woman who is super electric, might just need a magnetic man. Because she will bend to him because he is magnetic. Right? No, you've worked a lot. I really would love to see you at home. He's magnetic in the way that he cares. She's gonna yield to that. You know, instead of thinking, oh, and she's feminine and there's room for his masculine. Whatever the fuck niggas are saying on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
So it's funny because I saw on one of those random podcasts where it was just like, so, you know, that was very deep and prophetic, and I thought that was a very great scientific breakdown of a lot of, you know, it's like the 10,000 foot view of what people are going through, you know, on the zoomed in level. I think part of what it is though is you have some women who have their guard up, sometimes rightfully so. You know, either their mom told them XYZ or dudes did the most and they, you know, became, you know, hardened.
For sure.
Right? And then you also have a lot of these platforms where dudes, you know, make it a point to try to tell women about themselves, right? But I think there isn't enough self-awareness. There isn't enough self-actualization. There isn't enough time with people saying, what am I? It's more so about, it's more outward than inward. Like, folks spend way more time saying, oh, you know, she's this, she's that. Now, I've been around, you know, women who I felt like, yo, she's going mad hard. And in my mind, I'm like, I almost felt bad for her because I'm like, okay, something must have happened in your life. And it's circumstantial, right? But it's like in the dating sense, I feel like if a woman was too, I don't want to use the word masculine as much as I'll say if she was too electric.
Okay. Good job.
Right? It's like,
when you say going hard, what are you referring to?
So like a good example would be if a woman, actually this is a great example. I was in Woodlands one day and
R.I.P.
right? And it's mad people trying to get a drink and everyone's waiting calmly and this woman says, excuse me to me. So I'm thinking she wants to sit at the bar. I'm like, yeah, sure. And she says, excuse me. And then instead goes to so I'm at the bar waiting. She says, excuse me, past people to stand there and then orders her drinks and skips everybody. And her friend comes to me, is like, oh, I'm sorry, apologies. And I'm like, nah, that's how she giving it up. Go ahead. You know, if that's what makes her feel great in the moment, cool. And the chick turns back at me and looks like, almost like annoyed that I'm even saying anything about her. Because she's like, where you at? No, maybe with this microphone is her friend's here. I'm talking to her friend. And then my guy's like, yo. So I'm like, nah, you know, she thirsty. So she went and got a drink. But it's like in that moment, you know, the friend is like, you know, it's my birthday. She was just, I'm like, listen, I'm trying to tell her, I was like, nah, listen, it's all good. I'm not, because I really wasn't offended. Like, to me, it wasn't that serious. It's a crowded spot. Some people can be extra, like it was what it was, but in her mind, she felt like that was the best thing to do. Like, she thought that course of action was most appropriate. And a different person would have been like, yo, what the F are you doing? Right? So I think that's an example of a situation where I feel like it's so hard, because I do think there's also this counterbalance where you have a lot of women that are just looking to argue with a man about anything. And it's just like some women are just so wound up that they willing to argue with women about anything. And then on the other side, because I'm being objective, you got some dudes that are so hurt that, you know, they look at women as like threats to their existence. Like, oh my gosh, she's a pretty woman, she must be an airhead. Or if she has, you know, nice things on, a man must have bought it. Right? Some dudes are so hurt that, you know, women can do no right. And some women are so hurt that men can do no right. And I think that's the part where we got to get through to that. Culturally, you know, the Munch songs and that kind of stuff, you know, I'm mostly joking, but I do think there's a sense of people's guards are so heightened. The younger generations tell me that, you know, people I know under 25 that are not married don't talk about it. And when I was of that age, I feel like there were people that were of that age that were talking about marriage. Nobody I know that's that young these days talks about marriage. It's more about like, you know, trips, traveling, whatever. So I think there's been like a very big energy shift, and everything now is short term. Even songs like Munch is
2 minutes.
The song is less than 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes, yeah.
Right? Like in the 50s, songs were like 2:50. Then in the 70s, they got long to like 7 minutes because it was the breakdown. Right? And then in the 80s and 90s, it was like a 4-minute song was like the standard. 2000s, 4 minutes. Then it was 3.5. Songs now in the 2010s was like less than 3, 2.5. Now songs are barely 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah. But you know, that's just speaking to more the transactional. Again, the charge on our culture is masculine. It's electric.
Boogie, oogie, oogie.
But I mean that to say, think about a live wire. You ever seen an electric cord? Like just spark, people jump. Like it's out of control. It's volatile. That's just what the state of things is right now. And in the example you gave with your friend, you know, well, not your friend, excuse me, the two women at the bar trying to order. One friend is clearly in her feminine, right?
Because she was battered too.
Okay, well, cool. But she probably could feel, because she's in her feminine, she could feel that what her friend did was overbearing.
She looked embarrassed, and it was a few of them, and others was kind of like they wasn't jacking
right.
It. But that one, like, but in every crew, there's like that friend, right? Male or female, like there's like the live wire.
Right.
She was like, it's funny because now, oh shit, live wire, you know, that makes sense. But it was also like, in that situation, I guess where I was at in my life was I'm just like, I was impressed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yo, I'm here, I'm getting my drink next, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
And it's also like the bartender gave them their drinks, and I don't even remember if they tipped or whatever, but the bartender came to me next and was like, you know, blah, blah, blah. In those kind of moments, if you're like situationally aware, you know, you're probably not getting the best of service. You know, the first time you get the bartender's attention, even if you tip big, they may or may not remember you. It's just not optimal, right?
Because they're electric.
Right. It's not optimal. They so wound up dealing with managing personalities. So it really wasn't anything that serious. But, you know, oftentimes I encounter, you know, when I'm out to eat and I go to, like, my new thing now is going to, like, restaurants and sitting at the bar and eating by myself. And I usually have sweats on, James St. Patrick peacoat, beanie, mad casual, and just like getting. It's interesting when people you can tell them making judgments about who they think you are, and then they get confused because like the manager of the restaurant is like, "Hey, you're not leaving here without doing a shot."
Yeah.
Or here's or like walk in and they're like the usual, and they just bring my shit out in 10 minutes. Nothing's on the menu.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, those are the things, like, those are the ways that I kind of flex without flexing. but it's also a certain amount of comfort I have now, where it's just like, you know, that energy stuff. I just realized how much power I have in my energy, and I don't even entertain a lot of the fuckery and the insecurity of others. So I think so what would be a good way for people to approach dating in this context now? You know, because a lot of this was about dating. So how would you approach things like an open relationship or even like a closed relationship? Like, how would you?
I feel like the best method is to learn you. The problem is that folks aren't learning themselves. They are externalizing all of their work. So instead of saying, oh, you know, like people are running to the street and saying, oh, well, women are using men for X, Y, and Z, instead of just looking at the ways that they may be inviting some people who are overly electric. You know, because they have no boundaries. Like, look at your own boundaries before you say that people are out here trying to take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying?
Avoid Sagittariuses.
No, I'm not going to say that, but I am saying that, like, you know, I just think it's important for people to really, like you said, become more aware of what's going on with them. And that's why I thought it was important for us to give masculinity and femininity a new name, like give them characteristics so that folks can actually see it from a functional perspective
and see it within themselves.
Like, yo, you know what, I know that I'm somebody who has a fair share of both, but I might be slightly more electric than I am like magnetic, and that works for me. You know, so the people for me have to have a certain type of combination,
and they have to draw in,
and that's okay, you know. And so, like, once I know me and I accept that, I'm cool with what comes for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also able to easily identify it. You know, so when there are some people who are also overly electric, we tend to not get along because it's too much the same. You know what I'm saying? We're going to butt heads. And that's only because I have a firm understanding of who I am. But I also keep the window open because I know that I'm changing. As I get older, things are going to change. My circumstances are going to change. And because I have both energies in me, the composition may change. Just be aware of what the fuck is going on with you. Instead of what this guru is saying or what this podcaster is saying or what this song is saying. Stop trying to keep up with what these prescriptions other people have and just look at hopefully through the lens of these functions. You know, look at what you're doing yourself. How do you show up? Just look at how you operate in work. Look at how you operate in your close friends groups. Look at how you operate in your family dynamics. It will give you who you actually are. You know, once you figure that out, if you don't like it, you can always change it because you are the God of your life. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can change. You the captain. You can change this shit if you want.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you can always change that. But again, that's self-study. That's self-mastery. That's what we should be, you know, putting our energy in rather than trying to meet some external, you know, level of like external validation. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I think our generation is being led astray by TikToks and reels and relationship goals and
forget it.
What
everyone's a guru.
What a man should do and what a woman should do and again, like you said, like people have different energies and you know, I think I saw some article about a gay man or previously a man dating a masculine woman. And it's similar to, you know, saying you have both energies within you. Why wouldn't that match up? Like, why wouldn't that make sense?
And you know
like,
what's crazy?
No, what?
You see what's interesting? But the thing is, like,
I just laughed.
Everyone, it doesn't have to even stay that way.
Right.
Because the power dynamic for real might be that if he turns that on, she will yield. And so it's almost like, that's why I don't want us to give too much power to the things that are outside of us. People shouldn't be able to spell how you should be operating in your joint. You operating how you operate because that's how the fuck you operate. You and your partner on that same page because y'all are on that same page. It works for y'all. You know what I'm saying? And if you want that shit to change, you can work on it together by working on yourselves. It's just not... this is not the part of our lives where I think it should be up for public debate. Though I do appreciate public discourse on relationships, I think that this has gotten at least for me, it's gotten it's not even
repetitive.
Oh my God. I think it was like top of 2021. I was like, I think I quit. At the height of Kevin Samuels, I was like, you know what? I think I quit because I didn't know at the time how to explain it to folks because these are areas of study that I study for myself. I'm not necessarily, I've never been in a place where I was like, yeah, I want to teach folks. This is how it goes. I'm doing this for me. So this is how I understand it. And so I'm just sharing, that's where Hood Esoterics came from. I just want to share what I understand and how I understand it. If it works for you, then I hope it edifies your life because it will allow you to have some more sovereignty. Like, I don't feel like I'm at the whim of whoever says on social media. I don't belong to you niggas because I'm doing whatever I'm doing for me. You know?
There we go. Well, that was riveting. Do we still need to discuss further any other topics? So in wrapping this week, what I will say is understands your mortality. Right? A lot of good people are leaving the physical, and if you have what might be a minor discrepancy, no blood was shed with a person, consider mending that because death in the physical sense is permanent, right? Hovain, the manager, Troy Ave, former manager, passed away last week, and he was one of the people that posted on the gram like, damn, like, you know, we fell out in part because of the Urban Plaza situation, and I didn't get to even, you know, make that right with you all the way. Like, they had gotten back to, like, talking, but they didn't get the chance to fix it.
Yeah.
And then, ironically, he couldn't go to the funeral because it was the same day that he had court for the Urban Plaza shooting.
Wow.
Right? So, I say all to say that, you know, if you have a minor spat with somebody or the energy is weird and you care about the relationship, then fix it. Because once a person is not here in the physical, you know, you don't get a chance to fix it. At least not right now.
Yeah. Jesse, do you have a final word?
You know, I'm really into affirmations right now.
Okay.
I think I was telling Hatshepsut her pick last time. I listen to it every day, and it's just so like, literally,
Yes.
I want it, I get it.
Sweet brown sugar in a white world.
Exactly.
Can you manifest me a Big Mac meal after this? Can you manifest me a Big Mac meal after
Yes.
this?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we were already
Done.
talking about that.
We were. See?
Perfect,
Done.
perfect.
It's done. It is done.
It is done.
It is done.
And so it is.
Yeah. And, you know, just, I'm having all the things.
Yes.
Just like
It's
the
giving.
frequency
It's giving.
it's high. And it's like
Yes.
keeping your frequency high and recognizing when you're having those like negative thoughts, acknowledge them and then let them go and come back to the light.
Yo,
Like, don't go into the darkness.
well, sorry, I gotta say this.
It's cool.
I was sleeping on this artist. I gotta give her flowers. Glorilla.
Okay.
Yo, like,
Big
Established this
glow.
already, no?
nah,
Big
but it's just like, I gotta say it
glow.
again because I saw an interview, a couple of her interviews, and she's just very, like,
Positive?
she got like 9 or 10 siblings, probably like 12, but her energy is just like, I'm not getting plastic surgery. This is who I am.
Yep.
And she's just like, it's nothing better than a person who is confident in their truth.
Yep.
Right? And I tell people all the time, it's just like, my big thing right now is the late bloomers, like the dudes that are turning 36 and now all of a sudden they Rambo.
Yeah.
Right? And to have a Glorilla come out and just be like, I don't tomorrow, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I don't know the words. But like,
The guys are feeling her.
nah, like I saw
Music, that is.
No.
As well as her, but like.
I saw a fucked up meme that said shit. I ain't gonna repeat that.
This,
I'll say it
this
off
big
air.
go-
I'll say it
right,
off air.
Thank you.
But I love her energy.
I do
And
too.
that song, not FNF, but the Tomorrow song with Cardi B, I'll be in traffic like it's a, you know what I mean? But nah, it's a good
and
energy.
a munch and he gonna eat it like a mango.
Okay.
I ain't go front. That's a hard line.
Okay.
And then the ad lib is
Okay.
Like-
shout out. No.
that's a hard line and it's a hard ad lib too. But nah, sorry to interrupt, but
No, it's
I just had
cool.
to say this. It's just like because I've been listening to a lot more music around affirmations. I still listen to the hood scholars that talk to me. You know what I mean?
fine.
But a lot of songs where it's just like very bouncy, and not all rap is low vibrational. Like I don't think that song is low vibrational. It's more about, yo, like, you tell the world you don't fuck with me, but who said you can?
Yeah.
And, yo, there's always tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
so I do think there's also space for that too. And I'm hopeful that as we roll into the new year, you know, that can be something that people will gravitate towards even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
I love her energy. I did love the fact that she fasted before her
I heard about
came
that.
out. And I just thought that was like the realest shit I ever heard. She's like, me and my homegirls were tired of going into the year broke and trying for shit, so we wanted something new, so we fasted. No sex, no alcohol, no weed, no nothing. And so I could understand the jubilation in the video.
Yeah, that's a hard video. You talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about F&F.
Because I think in the original Tomorrow video,
Yeah.
yeah,
There was
like,
some of that in the train station and stuff like that too.
No, wait, I'm mixing up. Which one is the one where they get that plane? Is that
That's not in F&F.
Tomorrow? They on a train. I feel like.
Yes, they're on the train platform.
I'm mixing them up. It's late,
Either way,
but
they
yeah.
turning up in all them videos.
Yeah, I love the energy in the train
Yeah.
too. I'm like, what time was this?
When she had the pregnant homegirl twerk, I was like, period.
I wouldn't want
deserve love, too.
my pregnant lady twerking.
She might want to twerk. Pregnant women don't suddenly not be women because they pregnant.
This is where we go off the rails.
It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to agree on everything, but
we don't have to. That's the beauty of it.
it is. And I still respect you. You know, things.
And
cool.
likewise.
Thank you very much.
But if you're pregnant, don't twerk.
I guess my parting words. I was thinking on this a little bit. I feel like I feel inclined to encourage people to be courageous in this time. You know, and courageous to do a new thing. I think that we're at the end of the calendar new year. This isn't necessarily the end of the new year, but not for me at least. I count the spring equinox as the beginning of a new year. But the end of a calendar new year, and that does have its place in this current like thing. And I just think that like if you've always wanted to be away, right? If you've always wanted to do a type of job, if you've always wanted to have a kind of habit or talent, skill, extracurricular activity, I encourage you to be courageous enough to do it, you know? Even if it's not having something new and it's just being courageous enough to state what your boundaries are or to say what it is. Earlier today, I posted, something that a few people had hit me up about, and I was like, I see you folks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And people were like, ooh, what's going on here? And I was like, it's not necessarily that I've got any static. I just need to let people know that I've seen them for years. And I'm seeing, and I want you to know that
who's
I
she talking
see.
about?
You get what I'm saying? A lot of people were like that. And so I just felt like, I just want people to know that I see you. Because I know it's really trendy to be super spiritual and things of that nature, but I have a relationship with the divine. Mm-hmm. So I'm sensitive for real. And I haven't always been courageous, although I have been sensitive. So that means that I've seen things that I've allowed. So now that I'm in this new place in my life where I'm just like, I dare to be courageous. I need people to know.
That's real shit.
It's true.
No,
I dare to, yeah.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because it's like,
it's real.
It's real.
You know what I mean? I dare to be courageous. I don't take no offense because this is just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I dare to be courageous to let you know I see you. However that falls for you is going to fall for you. It is what it is, because at the end of the day, I've accepted that the sauce has been me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the sauce has been me.
She the Alfredo.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I saying that, there's a part of you that's always like, oh, you're being too this and you're being too that. Those are all beliefs that kept me small for a very, very long time. I'm not interested in playing small no more. I'm daring to be courageous. So if I'm doing this for myself, I want to encourage other people to dare to be courageous in their lives as well. Be courageous.
There you go.
Be courageous.
Shout out to Team Morocco. Let's go smack up the rest of the Iberian Peninsula.
Listen, Haiti, I'm sorry for you. I know Brazil, they lose today. I know that. We still have Argentine. We agree. Yeah, some folks lost some money. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm here for Morocco.
By the time this come out, hopefully we got that dub. If not, we still got the dub because shit, we holding down the whole African continent right now.
All right, yeah, shout out to that.
You know what I mean? Fuck with that. But make sure you follow us on socials. We on at YouTube, stereo_bros on Twitter, the IG. Thank y'all for y'all support.
Word.
Over and out.
We will face, we must face the moment of truth, baby.